Hey! So, if you're watching this video, you might have seen my last video and it's called Is ABBA Over? Björn Speaks. If you have not seen that video, go back and watch it for context. This video received many comments, 192 comments altogether. So I decided, also because it's quite a hot topic, to just sit down, do something that I usually don't do, just sit down here and read some of those comments and give you my reply and give you my thoughts about this whole subject. So this video today here, for a change, is quite different to the usual videos on this channel. There will be no editing whatsoever. I'm just going to sit here, read your comments and basically talk with you about all of what you have said and what you think, and I'm looking forward to that because as I said, this is something that I usually don't do and I want to try out. I want to try it out. So what I have done is I selected a few comments. I'm not going to read all 192 comments here. Otherwise we would be here for a 5-hour live stream, which I will not do. So I selected a few comments and I kind of combined them into thematic subjects, and I have to say I could have chosen every single one of those comments because they were all, as always, very worthwhile to read. And there's just so much that I can read, so I decided for those. If your comment is not one of them, of course it's not personal. So I just selected those, and also I will not mention any names. This is simply because every now and then some users said to me they would prefer if their name is not mentioned in videos. And I completely understand that, so I will not name any names. And I also want to make one thing very clear from the beginning. I said this before, and this is very important to me. When I do videos like that every now and then, is ABBA over? Or will there be more? Or what does this mean when he said this and that? Well, I get comments every now and then from, I don't know if they are subscribers, if they are fans like you and I, but they say something like, stop demanding, or something like that. And I understand this, the notion of those as well. But I want to make one thing very clear. If every now and then a video like Is ABBA Over pops up on my channel, this is not me sitting here demanding more or asking ABBA to create more or to give us more. Not at all. And if you watch my videos from start to finish, you should know. But for very few here and there, it's obviously not very clear. So I have to make this statement because this is important to me. I create these videos every now and then because people ask me, and I get comments every once in a while, or very often actually, of fans asking me, you know, what does this mean, or will this be the end, will there be more? So I have to create a video where you can discuss it, where I can discuss it, where we give our thoughts about this. And I create these videos because it seems to be on people's mind and on people's heart. It seems to be important for fans. It's not so much about demanding, but about wondering. And I said this before, and I want to say this again now. Voyage was, for me personally, Voyage was ABBA's gift and it was their farewell. This is what they said themselves, Björn and Benny did, and have said since then. And this is how I feel about this album and about the project that followed, the concert. But this notion also leads me to the first comments that I put together, the first subject that I ordered them, sequenced them together, and this is the first one. Let's not be selfish with these tremendous artists, and what they decide to do must be taken with them, respecting what they deserve. If they give us another musical work, welcome. And if they decide to retire permanently, we also have to take it in the best way. They leave us a huge musical legacy of great quality, and they will go down in history, in my humble opinion, as the greatest in the history of music, popular music. The second comment is, thank you for asking the big and hugely complex question that is on every fan's mind. Is it the end of ABBA? Will there be more songs? For all the fans, this is actually a normal state of mind as we wondered, prayed, pleaded for 40 years for a new ABBA album. But now that we got much more than an album with the incredible Voyage project, I would rephrase the question. Is it even fair to ask for more? For one, I'd be happy if all the unreleased songs would be released officially. One can always hope, but I'll be forever grateful for the musical magic ABBA gifted us. I have nothing to add to this comment. Well, I have, but this is basically really what's on my mind as well. And there's one phrase here which is about unreleased songs, and actually the majority of comments on this last video deals with this subject, and we will come back to that in a moment. I have two more comments about this theme of being grateful, and the next one is actually a reply to this comment that I just read, and it's this comment. I totally agree with you. For many years, ABBA fans were pleading for a reunion and another album. They gave us that with Voyage. Why should they be forced into giving more when they have already done what we pleaded for? Benny has returned to Bao now, which he enjoys. Agneta has recorded a new solo song for her updated album A. Björn is happy with his new wife and doing interviews, and hopefully Frida is enjoying her life. Their fantastic music lives on in all our hearts and is still loved by the younger generations. Let us allow them to move on and wish them every happiness in their lives. I mean, these comments are beautiful, and I basically have nothing to add. This is that's on my mind as well, and I hope that this gives you an idea what my attitude is about these videos as well, because it's comments like this that I enjoy reading so much. I want to see what fans think. I want to see. This channel is turning 4 years old next year, and there are fans watching that have been with this channel from the very beginning, and I want to read those comments from all those fans that are here for such a long time. I want to know how they feel now after Voyage is out for 3 years, and that's the stuff I enjoy so much. So that's one of the big main reasons I create videos like that. And the next comment is this one. As I have written before, for me, ABBA as a group has been history since the coronation, since they received the royal order in May. 50 years of making music is enough. I think there's nothing to top it. As a thank you to the fans, a multi-part documentary would be desirable and perhaps one or two titles that have not yet been published and can perhaps become a hit now, who knows. So this actually leads us to the next subject, unreleased songs, and well, a documentary as well. But I want to quote this one phrase from this comment again. I think there's nothing to top it. So when we think about the Voyage album, people, ever since it was released, people comment every once in a while that Voyage album was so successful. Why would they stop? And I read those comments and I get the sentiment and I totally understand it. But I read them and I think personally, the Voyage album was so successful. Why should they continue? Why should they try to recreate it? Let me phrase it like this. When Voyage was released, ABBA did something with this comeback which they are never be able to do again. They came back after 40 years. That's something they cannot repeat, for biological reasons, obviously. Unfortunately. And that makes Voyage very unique. They came back for this one farewell album after 40 years. But on top of that, Voyage topped the charts worldwide in, I think, about 20 countries on #1. And ABBA themselves said it several times that they did not expect the success that this album became, that they were actually very surprised, and understandably so, because the Voyage album was so successful, it cannot be repeated like that. Can it? I don't know. I'm not saying that another potential album wouldn't be successful, not at all. I think it would, very much so. But would it be as successful? And does it need to be as successful? I don't know. Do I want to? Would I, as a fan, would want to hear more new music? Would I want to have another album? Of course I would. On the other hand, I am also a fan that feels very content with what we got. And I'm a fan that feels like if this is the end, which it seems to be, according to Björn and Benny, according to ABBA, it seems to be the farewell album, there couldn't be a better ending. And things have to end. In a way, the active part of music making ABBA has to end at some point. And I'm not saying it has to end with this album, with these 10 new songs, but apparently it is. Apparently that's what they are deciding. I'm not speaking for them. I'm only rephrasing and thinking about the quotes of Björn and Benny. Only of Björn and Benny. And we know that if one of them says yes, or if one of them says no to something, it goes for all four of them. That's how it has always been. So, as a fan, do I want to hear more? Of course. But as a fan, do I wish that the end, whatever it is, would be successful, would be like it was with Voyage? then of course that's what I want as a fan as well, and that's what we got. So again, going back to those comments from fans that say Voyage was so successful, why would they stop? I think that Voyage was so successful, why would they continue? Why not go out on top like that? That's my thought. And if there will be more new music, of course I'm not sitting here and saying, no, Voyage was the end for me. Of course not. But if Voyage was the end, I'm more than content. And I have been content ever since all of that happened 3 years ago. When it comes to these things. Now, the second subject that I put comments together and that I think was kind of the majority of comments dealing with is the subject of unreleased material. So let me read this next comment about it. If there will be no new music, then just release songs that never made it to fruition or unfinished. The fans would be happy with that. Another comment. Besides the 2 unreleased songs from the Voyage sessions, we all know there's more unreleased stuff in the archives. So a whole compilation of those stuff would be neat. Whatsoever, their legacy will live on. Another comment. I hope for a final album with unreleased songs, like Just Like That and Hamlet and a couple of new songs. And another one. I'm always gonna hope that they finally release some of the old unreleased songs. There's more, but I found it very interesting that so many fans continue to keep asking for unreleased material, and my sentiments are all with you, totally, completely. To be honest, for the 40th anniversary 10 years ago, we got the magnificent Archival Release live at Wembley Arena, a complete concert from 1979, the first true live album from ABBA, from one concert, from one tour. And we even got a brand new photo book in 2014. The first and so far only one, official one. So that 40th anniversary was celebrated quite well. We even got Chess Deluxe Edition with 3 unreleased songs, ABBA solo, but that was also in 2014 for the 40th anniversary. So I have to be honest, for the 50th anniversary, half a century, and also following this huge success with Voyage, I would have expected that there would be something for fans. There has been nothing this year. And when I say nothing, I don't mean literally nothing. You know what I mean. There have been releases and merchandise on end this year. Waterloo merchandise, Voyage merchandise, t-shirts, socks, stuff like that, which is alright, which is fine for me. And again, everything I say here, this is all my personal opinion. This is only my personal opinion. And there has been a new compilation album last week. And of course there have been vinyl reissues, mainly celebrating the Waterloo anniversary, 50 years. But there's nothing new on all of those releases in the shape of unreleased material, alternate mixes, stuff like that. So again, for me, it's all right to release all of this stuff. There's nothing wrong with it at all. There's nothing wrong with a new compilation. aside from the quality, and that's a different topic, the quality and the visual presentation, all of that, it's a different topic. But the general idea, new compilation, old stuff, recycling, merchandise, they need to do this. They spend so much money on the Voyage concert project. They need to keep producing merchandise, and they need to generate that money back. So I do understand that in that sense. However, and also there are fans that are very content and very happy with new ABBA socks, new ABBA t-shirts, the new compilation. They are buying it, they are happy with it. There are also fans that are not happy with it. So that's completely fine for everyone. But there's one side of it all which gets neglected. And that's the side of fans who actually don't care about this old stuff and who actually would love to have unreleased material. So I'm one of them. Many of you are part of those fans. I have to say, the majority of comments was dealing with the wish for unreleased material. So I think celebrating 50 years of ABBA, and the year is not over yet, but it's November already. And if you announce something, then it takes a while. So I'm not sure that we will get anything this year. Anything more this year. The compilation was just released last week. If this is it for fans, I have to say then I am very disappointed. Hear me out. Because I can already see some comments saying you always demand more and they gave us a new album, and that is true. But for me personally, those are two different things. So of course I am content with a new album. I am content with the Wembley album from 10 years ago. I am content with the Twinkling Star demos, which were surprisingly released 12 years ago, which hasn't happened since 1994. New material from the studio, unreleased outtakes and demos. That was the only thing we ever got in the last 30 years. So I hope you understand me right when I say that the Voyage album is one thing, and there's no doubt about it for me personally that this album, this project, the new music is outdoing everything else. But there is still this other side. And it's one thing to ask and wonder, will there be more music, new music, will there be another album, all of that, in the sense that would mean that ABBA, the 4 ABBA members, have to do more work. So that's one thing. Okay, but to give fans who are here now, not myself, but a lot of other fans who are here for 50 years, actually celebrating 50 years with ABBA, and they don't get anything in the shape of unreleased material, is quite disappointing for me. And I hope you understand what I'm saying. Voyage album, a new album, all of that, kind of, they have to do more work, okay. But to release unreleased material, ABBA themselves doesn't have to do anything except to give their okay. The rest is up for the archivists, Universal, etc. So what I'm saying is, The singles, the first 50 years, a new compilation like that from last week. Can we really blame Universal as a music label? I'm not sure. Kind of. But we also know that Björn and especially Benny are very reluctant when it comes to unreleased material. And that's okay. It's kind of okay. I understand it from an artistic perspective. So if they don't give Universal the opportunity to make something more exciting for fans, Universal is forced to come up with something like this compilation. So I'm not so sure if we can only blame Universal or if we should blame ABBA themselves. But this is not a call to blame them. It's more about earlier this year, when they wrote this beautiful letter to thank fans for following them for 50 years and celebrating Waterloo with them. They wrote something like, it's very hard. They wrote something like, it's very hard to put this into words, to be grateful and to show our gratefulness to you. It's very hard to put it into words. It's not exactly those words, but they wrote something like that. And I read that and I thought to myself, well, then maybe consider to actually do something to show your gratefulness. And again, yes, they did something and they showed it to us. More than, as I said, we could ever hoped and expected. But this year is not about Voyage. This year is about 50 years of ABBA, about being fans for 50 years, not myself again, I'm a fan for 20 years, but others are around for 50 years. And as we see in these comments, unreleased songs, archival stuff, it's normal that as a fan, and especially after 50 years, you want to hear more and you want to hear a process of songs. And I think on one hand I understand it artistically if you want to preserve the notion of, yeah, okay, but this is our final song, this is Dancing Queen, this is the only thing we want to give to the world. And Björn and Benny's argument very often is they don't want to destroy the legacy by showing demos or showing unreleased songs to the world. Two things about that, because I seriously have to wonder, for instance, the song I Am the City from 1982, of course, but first released in 1993. Who is listening to this song? It's an unreleased song, they released it. Who is listening to it? Fans. That's it. It's not doing anything wrong for the legacy of ABBA in the world. Nobody knows that song except for fans. And I'm generalizing, but you know, I hope you get the gist what I'm saying. And I think the same goes for working titles, alternate early versions of songs, demo recordings. Who is listening to From a Twinkling Star to a Passing Angel? Except for fans. This is something for fans. A live album, it's something for fans. And to give and that's my personal opinion. I know the opinion of Benny, we know it. And Benny and Björn, I should say. They are reluctant to release early versions, the work in progress stuff, because it's unfinished, etc. Okay, as an artist, that's their standpoint. Me as a fan, and me as a fan, I'm not speaking for any fan, any other fans, it's only myself, I say, they say it would lose impact of the final version, etc. It would ridicule the final version. I say it would add value to the final version. It always adds value, in my opinion. If you have versions, early versions, songs like Baby, Billy Boy, the early instrumental version of Take a Chance on Me, those demos for Like an Angel Passing Through My Room, it adds value in the sense that you get to understand how they reached the final result. And it makes you appreciate it even more, that final result. Not because the early versions are bad, but because they are early versions, because they show you the process, the demonstration, the work in progress of a song. That's my opinion. In my opinion, unreleased songs, early versions, etc., stuff that was rejected, gives us an even better idea of how they came up with the final result. It adds value. So, it's a very complicated thing with ABBA, because they keep the legacy alive by, for instance, the Mamma Mia projects, Mamma Mia the musical, Mamma Mia the movies, Mamma Mia the party. All those projects are very tongue-in-cheek, are very fun. They use the songs, and they are even kind of a parody. Okay. And it's okay. I enjoy the first Mamma Mia movie, and many fans enjoy those projects, and those projects generate new fans, and they stumble across the music and get to be introduced to the ABBA, the original ABBA legacy. So it's absolutely fine. But from time to time, I do wonder, how can it be okay or right to use the ABBA music in a project like Mamma Mia the Party, for instance, which kind of ridicules somewhat the nature of those songs, maybe? How can it be okay to, I don't know, publish ABBA socks and t-shirts with strange titles on it, and caps, etc.? But then you don't release stuff for fans who want to get an idea of the work in progress. I mean, stuff that deals with the actual music, that gives us an insight into the music itself. That's what's missing for me personally in ABBA's legacy, and I don't think it would destroy their legacy at all. Again, I am convinced that it actually would be beneficial in any way. If anything, it would be beneficial to show this immense process that went into creating those songs. That's my opinion. So I have to continue with the next comment, because this is getting out of hands actually, time-wise. So we are still in this subject of unreleased stuff, and here's another great one. Personally, it would be important to me that we get high-quality material from the live performances from 1974 to 1975, and especially recordings from 1977. Again, same thing. 1977 is neglected, and there are reasons for it. Apparently that the recording quality is not up to their standards on some of the recordings because of the rain, etc. I don't know that. We don't know if there is something that can be done with 1977. I would think so, because you don't need to go back to a full concert if that full concert is not up to the audio standard because of the rain. You combine several concerts into a live in 1977, live in Australia in 1977. concert compilation. It doesn't have to be one concert. Take the songs from different concerts. Take the Royal Albert Hall recordings that we know exists, and I'm not so convinced that there cannot be anything done with 1977. And also, we know from the book, the complete recording sessions from Carl Magnus Palm, that actually the recordings, the live recordings from ABBA the movie, exists in full length in the archives. Most of them exist in full length in the archives. Most of them were mixed in full length and then edited for ABBA the movie. So there's something. It's already there. That's what I'm saying. ABBA themselves, they don't even need to work, they don't have to work on anything. This is for the archivists, for the company. It's in the archives. Put it out. Put it out for the fans. Yes, that might be a demand. It's my wish. It's just a wish of mine and of many other fans. And here's the final comment about this topic. The lazy new compilation proves their refusal to release anything new, or even anything alternative from the vaults. This 50th anniversary offered such terrific chances to celebrate a half-century of inspiring, iconic music, but all they did was wrap a glorified Spotify playlist in a cheap-looking cover. The Voyage album was a massively unexpected dream come true. The Voyage show is groundbreaking. Is a groundbreaking spectacle. We've been thrilled by these. We've been grateful. If ABBA really is otherwise over, then just say so, stop teasing the fans, say what you mean. So again, I think this comment pretty much sums up and brings together my two thoughts. Voyage, on the other hand, unbelievable. There's nothing to top about that and what they have given us with that. Okay, but that's one thing. Archival material celebrating 50 years of ABBA this year is another thing, in my opinion. Here's another comment, and this was interesting. Still, we are talking about my video, Is ABBA Over? Björn Speaks. So this one says, I remember the last interview that they gave all together, and he, Björn, and I think this one is talking about 1982 actually, the last interview they gave all together. And Björn emphatically said something like, we are not going to separate, not at all. He was very positive about their future in 1982. And so he is now. Because, as we remember, context from last video, Björn said, it's not going to be the end. And we are wondering, what does it mean? So he's very positive about ABBA's future in 1982, and he's very positive about it now, again. What does it mean? We don't know. We certainly know that, well, this reminded me actually of an interview with Björn from 1976, from ABBA Dabba Doo, where he was asked if he's an optimist or a pessimist. And he said, I always found this reply very interesting. He said that he thought about it and he said, well, I'm more of a realist. So that's interesting, because those statements of Björn at the end of 1982 and now again, looking into the future of ABBA, being very positive, it seems that he is a very much an optimistic person. But he stated that he is a realist. So I don't know what that means, but that's it for that. And And those final two comments were more general about this question, is ABBA over or will there be more? And those are very, very interesting. They sing 4 times in the last song on Voyage album, "This isn't where it ends." 1 for each member. I think that is a clue for us fans. I'm not sure if it's that song and the ending was actually a clue, because when I listened to the album for the first time, and that song came, and that very abrupt ending of "This isn't where it ends," and the song ended, I knew that there was a 10th song coming because I counted them. I knew, listening to the album for the first time, there's another song coming at the end of Voyage, "Ode to Freedom." So that was more like a clue as part of the Voyage album. But I do understand this sentiment completely, looking at it generally, apart from the Voyage album. And you also have to remember that No Doubt About It was actually the final single from ABBA. It wasn't released physically, and it wasn't really released as a digital single either. It was a radio single in, I think, April 2022. But it was the final single. It's also the final track on the compilation from last week, because they put together all the singles. So in that sense, it's interesting, of course, that they sing "This isn't where it ends." But what I never realized, actually, and this comment made me aware of, is the fact that they sing this line 4 times, 1 for each member, basically. That was a very nice thought about this song. But one of the most interesting comments comes now, and it's the final one. The ABBA music was interwoven with the 4 members' personal lives. Once they parted ways, it was over. They achieved world fame together. Together, they were a unique phenomenon that cannot repeat itself. And actually, I read this comment and I thought, of course, that's it. The ABBA music was interwoven with the 4 members' personal lives. I think that's the secret. And I think that gives us maybe all the answers. As we know, the 4 individual members has been living their individual lives for the last 40 years. And looking at Voyage, this Voyage album, this farewell album, they came together after those 4 decades to look back at those 40 years. And to combine their experience, their memories, life experience. To look back at those 4 decades, they came back together. The ABBA music was interwoven with the 4 members' personal lives. They came together to look at now, at this moment. Where is ABBA today? And that's Voyage for me, and it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. It's a great final comment, I think. Together they were a unique phenomenon that cannot repeat itself. Folks, we will continue to celebrate that phenomenon because next week this amazing thing here is turning 3 years old. 3 years! And as I said, they gave us an entire new album. It is still, for me personally, surreal. It's absolutely surreal. Because I had expectations, I had hopes, but never for an entire new album. Never, ever. Not even in the slightest. And I'm completely honest. I never expected the amount of photographs that they have given us, new photographs, in this Voyage period. The amount of interviews, of press, of promotion. It was an unbelievable time. And it happened 3 years ago. So next week, on the 5th of November, we are celebrating, of course, 3 years of Voyage. And what I will do is actually looking back. I will do this again. I will sit down like this again, and I will go back in time, but even a little bit before Voyage was released. We will go back together to May 2021, and we will go back together to the very, very first video ever that I have created for this channel back then, where actually at that point in time we didn't have any idea what would come. We only knew, or well, we were told that new music will be coming at the end of that year. So that was my very first video over 3 years ago now, in May 2021. And next week we will go back to that very first video, we will watch it together, and I will do what I never do, but I will do it and do a reaction to this video. Sit here, we watch it together. I haven't seen this video since then, probably, but we'll do it together. I'm not watching it before, and I'm going to react to it in a way that I will also give you a little bit of a background about this channel, a little bit about this first video and the motivation, and I will give you a little some stories why I created this channel and how all of it happened. That will be next week for the 3rd anniversary of Voyage, and but before that, next time we will have another video on Sunday evening. We will talk about the 2 most exciting releases from this year, and in my personal opinion, most exciting releases, and that is actually the new Atmos mixes from ABBA for 2 of their individual songs, for 2 of ABBA's original songs from the core catalogue, and that is for the song Waterloo and for the song Gimme Gimme Gimme, A Man After Midnight. We are going to take a look on Sunday evening at those 2 new Atmos mixes and do an in-depth analysis. So, I never expected this video to be that long. I'm not even sure, everyone who is watching, who is still watching, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm still sitting here and talking, so I don't know what I am doing. I hope this was, I don't know how it turned out. I only know that it turned out definitely far too long. But it was interesting. I just wanted to sit down and go and personally go through some of those comments, like I usually never do, in the sense of talk spontaneously. And well, this is the reason why I always prepare scripts, because I go this and go that and talk far too much. Thank you for everyone who watched this, and again, thank you for everyone who is commenting, who has been commenting for all those years on my videos. It's unbelievable to me. Sometimes I can do videos like the last time this week, the horror of ABBA, where I have this idea in my mind, and I have to do it. I have to create this video, and that's how that video came up. I just one day recently was lying in bed, and suddenly I had this picture of Benny in my mind, this crazy gaze of Benny, how that video starts. And I heard this voice in my head say, "This man And suddenly I had this whole idea of that story for this video, and I don't know where it came from, but then I thought about all those strange moments of ABBA, funny moments, but horrific moments, and put them together, and I thought, I have to do it. I have to edit this together and create a fictional trailer for Halloween. So that's what I've done. And what I'm saying with this, why I'm telling you this right now, is only because folks, I think over 3,000 people or so have watched this video by now. This is one day after I released it. And this is not, it's never been about numbers for me, but I have to be honest, every now and then I see the numbers and I'm very perplexed. To find that sometimes I can create videos that I just have fun with, and that doesn't even mean anything really. This was a just for fun video, and people come back and watch it, and most of all enjoy it, because 98% of you enjoyed this video very much, and and that's tremendous for me. So thank you for that. And I hope to see you on Sunday evening when we go through the Dolby Atmos mixes, and also next week when we go back to that very first strange but very important, interesting video of mine, which is on this channel, but we'll watch it together. So thank you very much, and have a nice weekend. Thank you for watching and listening to this long winding video tonight. Alright, until then, hey do!